What's going on YouTube, and thanks for tuning back into my channel. So as you can see from the title, in this video I'm finally going to show you guys what's in my kit, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so for those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Durell Morgan and I am a beauty photographer and makeup artist. For those of you who have been sticking around, thanks for coming back, and if you have not done so, make sure to subscribe so y'all can know what's going on. But basically, yeah, I've been wanting to do this video for quite some time. A lot of people want to know what's in my kit, what I use from a day-to-day basis when I was doing makeup professionally. And every kit for every genre is going to be different. My kit for my fashion stuff is going to be way smaller than my kit from when I was doing weddings. And now that I'm getting more into TV and focusing more on that, there are going to be some things that I have to add and take out of my kit. So what makes a good kit? It really depends on the line of work that you do. So you have to really understand your field and your basic requirements, right? So I'm never going to go to Fashion Week like not prepared, like with palettes, foundations, things of that nature. I'm never going to go to a wedding and not have, good skincare, good long wear foundations, long wear lipsticks, things of that nature. So it really just depends on your line of work. And again, I'll just put this out there. None of this stuff happened overnight. It took me years and years and years to accumulate all of this makeup, whether I was buying it myself or getting it free through gratis when I worked for MAC or when I worked for Sephora. So don't ever feel pressured or rushed to just have an enormous kit. And to be honest with you, this is still not all of the stuff that I want. I'm very smart about when I make purchases for my kit. So I'm not really like a makeup hoarder per se. Like I like what I like and I tend to stick to the things that I like. But again, if you're just starting out as a makeup artist, this will take time. If you are a consumer and you're just wearing makeup for yourself, I'm pretty sure you won't need this amount of makeup, but you can kind of pick up on how to make your life easier. So I just kind of wanted to go through really briefly about my everyday things that I keep in my kit. So hope you guys like this, but let's get in the makeup room so you guys can see what's in my kit. All right, so basically what you see here is my purple suitcase, which has all of my backstock stuff in it, my larger, older case that I used to carry. This bag here is the bag that I actually use, my working bag. So when I'm doing like doing goes, if I'm doing photo shoots, that's the case that I carry. Then I have my black towel, my brushes, and then my extra brushes. So these brushes here are just backup brushes. I had an incident where I was traveling out of town and my entire kit was lost on the bus. Brushes included, palettes, everything that I pretty much use to do work. So I keep brushes home, and then I have the one that I take with me on set. I always travel with a black towel just to kind of put down on whatever surface that I might be in, because I never know the setup that I'm going to. So just to protect whatever that table or desk or area will be, just to have a little bit more organization in the room. I always lay this down. This is also really good because I'll use this in between to clean brushes, and then when I get home I just kind of throw this in the washer to get like the makeup out of it. And then this is my brush roll. So I used to be one of those makeup artists that used to want to go on set and have a brush belt. To me, it's not functional. I also used to use this as my brush setup. This just stays home, or sometimes I may bring it if I want to like use my lip glosses in here or like move this over. So this got away from being used for brushes. I used it for liners until I got this book. We'll go through this as well. But this, like I said, for the most part stays home. I don't use it for brushes anymore. This I love because the layout of it is really great. This is by Brush Portfolio. Yeah. So this can stand up. It's very easy for me to use. I've tried some other brush holders and things like that, but they were a little too tight in regards to getting my brushes out. So it was like I had to use both hands to even maneuver. Takes up too much time. This is a 1, 2, 3. Clearly I can see what's dirty, what needs to be cleaned. I don't separate my dirty and clean brushes because you can clearly see them. Or what I'll do is if I'm using maybe 3 brushes to do something, I leave them on the black towel and I just work from there. And depending on what I'm doing and what I'm going to next, I'll just go back to this for like a new brush and so on and so forth. So this is pretty much all of the brushes that I carry with me on set. I'm not really big on using a lot of stuff. I'd rather keep the kit as small as possible and still get the job done. That was a skill that took me a while to kind of perfect for my own aesthetic. And this is over a 10-11 year process, so it doesn't just happen overnight. It does take time. So this goes right in my book bag. I don't put this like in a makeup case or anything like that. And what I will show you guys is a comparison. So this is a bag that I got from Muji, which has everything that I use to do my clients when I was in New York, do shoots, things of that nature. So we're gonna go into this in a second, but what I wanna show you guys is, this is my current kit. When I first started doing makeup, I traveled with the silver train cases that Sephora sells. So it went from that to this, which is probably not even closed. This huge bag from that. Let me zip it up so it doesn't open. So you can just see kind of the before and after. And like I said, this took time. I didn't develop my kit skills overnight. So I went from this big bag going everywhere with me with these straps that aren't that great, as you can see. And then the more stuff you put in here, the more painful this is on your shoulder. So I went from this, well, from a train case to this to this. So you see the difference? Like, that's a huge condensing process. And I'm extremely proud of my kit. And there's still some things that I want to add to it, take out of it, get it a little bit more versatile in the way that I like to do makeup on set. But you can kind of see the before and after. But this guy just contains some other things, back stock, stuff like that. And we'll go through that in a separate video. But my working bag is this one. All right, so now we can go ahead and get into this. So this is pretty much how the kit looks when I get on set. Just added a powder puff and something for me to kind of like, what do they call these? These are powder puffs too, but just to like rest my finger on the client's face and not like mess up the makeup. I just added these in, got them from NARS, I believe. But yeah, these are pretty good. So I like to keep these in here. These you can wash. I can go and buy these in bulk, but I just got back into like doing makeup for my test shoots and stuff. So I didn't really need them. So I didn't want to buy in bulk. And I'm not building makeup clients here in Atlanta, at least not as of yet. So I just wanted these to kind of get back into the habit of just placement and like just using them again, because I always like using these before. So in this bag, I have my bronzers, highlighters, and a translucent powder. So I keep these all in here. Gold Deposit from MAC. This is Refined Golden. Probably one of my favorite bronzers is the Iman one. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 compacts in here, and then my translucent powder as well. Just try to keep this together because when I like break down and I'm like cleaning up to go back home and like I'm done with the job, I know what's in here because I don't overpack. So it's very hard for like things to go missing because I'm like an inventory specialist, so I know what will be missing from my kit if somebody tries to take something or if I leave it. But this mesh bag is good because I can see right through it too, so I can know like off the back if something is there or isn't there. And this is my brow bag. So this contains everything I would use for brows, whether it be gels, larger pencils, the thinner pencils. This is the Aqua Brow for Makeup Forever. These are old. I don't even know if they make these anymore. I rarely use these. But these were really good for anything that I needed to do where the brows, excuse me, needed to be Waterproof. I didn't really do a lot of swimsuit stuff for my beauty work. There were a few things I've done with these. They were pretty good. I don't really have any complaints, but as they age, the product starts to separate. So like I said, I don't really use these like that. I just kind of kept them here because I never replaced them. They still work pretty well, but I've had these for quite some time. But this is pretty much like my go-to brow setup. A gel, maybe a larger pencil, and the smaller pencil. All of these are from MAC. Use what you have available. You don't have to use what I'm using or what I'm mentioning here. I don't really like mentioning brands because then I feel like that forces people to go after what they feel like I'm using. If this isn't in your price range or in your budget when you're building your kit as a makeup artist or as a consumer, if this isn't something that you can necessarily afford and you want to get great brows, think more so of color versus thinking about brands or product. They're all pretty much the same to me, at least from what I've noticed over the years. Some do work better than others. I just recently purchased this ring palette, so this can sit here on my finger. I have pretty, oh, there we go. So like if I'm doing individual lashes and want to add duo hair, or if I'm adding maybe Prosade to like some type of accessory that I'm doing in beauty, I can just keep this on my hand versus having a larger palette that might just take up space and might get cumbersome. So this is a lot easier. Costco has this. Thought it was cute and it's pretty easy to clean. I haven't used it yet, but it was something that I just wanted to have in my kit just to kind of have. And this is just a basic cover. If I'm working on someone and I don't want to get makeup on their clothes. It's like a barber's cover. I don't know what they call it, but I call it the barber's cover because that's what I think of, like the barber's cape. It's black, it can be washed, so this is good to have as well. Just recently got a beauty blender again. So I had a beauty blender a long time ago. I liked the application. I didn't like the cleanup per se, because you always had to buy the cleanser, and I think they have a liquid one now. When beauty blenders first came out, it was just this. There weren't colors, there weren't different sizes, things of that nature. So I kind of wanted to get back into that finish that the beauty blenders offer me with the foundations that I use and the way that I like to use them, just to kind of test it out. And now that I'm doing a lot more beauty stuff and doing my own beauty testing, skin to me is really important. So this was something that I just felt like I needed to kind of go back to a little bit. The crazy thing about makeup is that once you start being influenced by other people, you kind of pick up their traits and you lose yours. But it's okay to pick up things from people, but it's also okay to develop your own aesthetic and do what you feel makes you comfortable and makes your work look good. So don't ever get lost in what somebody else is doing. And I kind of got away from these, but I really do like, for certain jobs, what this can do and what it looks like when it's done. So let's get inside. This was Prosade. I got this because I wanted to start doing some more like brow cover work, a little bit more editorial work. I'm in a really creative state right now. So when I get there, I like to go all the way there when it's time to get things done. And I've seen a lot of pro artists use this. Rochard uses this. J. Manuel uses this. So this is really good for brow covering, adding adhesive, adding heavier products to your skin if you don't want to use like spirit gum, which can be a bit tacky. Prosade is pretty good. And this is the cream. This is just the smaller one. I didn't need the bigger one. The thing about adhesives, when you open them, the glue starts to dry around the edges. So each and every time you go back in to use it, this gets tighter, like it starts to seal itself. So if I'm not going to be using it a lot, I'm not doing special effects makeup, so I don't really need a bigger one. So I felt like the smaller one was going to be a good enough job for me. And palettes. Everybody always is concerned or curious about what palettes I use. I don't like to do a lot of color, but when I need to do color, Vice 2. I used to work for Urban Decay, and this is a pretty good palette. I hope you guys can see the colors, but I can get kind of busy with this palette. It has a lot of shimmers in it and colors that can just amp up something. I love using like creams as bases and then using shadows just to kind of set those creams. So this is it's a pretty decent palette. It does have a little bit of fallout, so less is more, but this will work great with any type of cream that you put down first. It'll really grab the colors and just hold on to it. It just, like I said, just pop out and be a little bit more vibrant. So this is my like color go-to palette, at least for now. Like I said, I don't like to do a lot of color work. If I am doing something specific or want to test a certain idea, I'll just go out and just maybe buy a single color or whatever colors I need for that story per se. But just to have for client requests or doing goes, this is a pretty good palette to use, and it's pretty pigmented too. In regards to lips, this is one of the lipstick palettes that I have. So this is a mixture of a bunch of MAC lipsticks that I had. I just cut them out and broke them down into this, and you can see this one I just like, well, not recently added, but it's not as compressed as the rest. So I did try the whole cutting the lipsticks out, putting them in the microwave to get the smoother finish from it. It looks pretty. I don't know what it may have done to the product in regards to the result. They still look the same on to me, but just for the ease of like cleaning, because as you can see, like the top of this gets pretty dirty. That was pretty much how I did it. So I just cut them out and just organized them from like nudes to a little bit darker nudes and pinks. I do have other lip palettes that I have, but this is like my go-to for this color range and this finish. I think all of these are like satin finishes or mattes. I don't really use a lot of glossy textures because you can always add gloss to any color to make it better. And glossier lipsticks don't really last as long. So if I'm doing something that I need to last long, I need a texture that's going to be a little bit more on the drier side. So this is one of my lip palettes, and this is my other one. This is an old lipstick palette. Makeup Forever, I don't even think sells this type of palette anymore. I haven't been in the store in a long time, but these are old Sephora colors when I used to work there, and I just chopped these up. This is like my first lipstick palette I ever made. So you see there's a pretty good color range in here, different textures as well. I think my favorite out of this palette is this rusty golden tone red. I use that a lot, and then this one here, you can see it's almost toward the bottom, but this is a pretty good palette. So I was really proud of myself when I did this because I didn't really know a lot, so I was just kind of experimenting, but this has gotten me through a lot of stuff as well. And on to my bigger lip palette. So I can't be covered from those two palettes. I know this double-sided one from MAC will do the job. Like there's no way I'm failing with this palette. So on one side there are lipsticks, and then on the other side I have my cream color bases and multiples from NARS. So this is great for like skin highlighting, really quick eyes, eye bases, lip bases. I'm really hands-on, and I really like the way cream products look on the skin. Powder looks good, but creams just melt more to me. And they look more like the skin would look if someone had really perfect skin and just had like vibrancy coming out of their skin, to where powder sometimes can be a bit choppy. If the powder isn't like jet milled, it doesn't really go on as great. So these, you see I just dig through these like crazy. And then, like I said, my lips. This is kind of like my backup lip palette. I don't really use this a lot, as you can see. But it's just good for me if I just want to kind of mix and match, or if I know I want a specific color from this palette. I think these are all NARS lipsticks that I chopped up in here. The majority of this, I believe, is NARS, and then the other one is MAC lipsticks. In regards to foundation, so believe it or not, I only travel with 2 foundation palettes. This is my Kevin Aquan, and this is my Black Opal. So these are the Black Opal stick foundations. I've been using these for as long as I have been doing makeup. Love them. You can't go wrong with them. They're like $9 a pop. They launched more shades since I've used them. I didn't fully get all of the other extensions. I want to, but for right now, this gets me pretty much what I need to get done. And then this is not a foundation, something I use to highlight. That's a secret I can't share because I learned it from someone and I promised her I wouldn't share it, but this gets really pretty, I'll say that much. And then the other palette, like I said, is my Kevin Aquan palette. A little bit of these guys goes a long way. They're super pigmented. You don't need a lot, which is why they're still here and still last. I use this olivey tone a lot. I need to probably refill it. I have the backups in that other bag, but like I said, a little bit of this goes a long way. This, to me, I've used a lot on my brides that want like that porcelain finish. You just have to be careful about the moisturizer that you use underneath it, because these get really dewy. So I can't use anything that's gonna be extra dewy on the skin. Anything more mattifying under these foundations looks really, really good. And like you can see, I don't have a lot of these. I know how to mix colors really well, and I've been really focusing on color theory and color correction and customizing colors that you already have. But these I like a lot, just don't use them that often. Also, we have the Makeup Forever 12 color flash palette. So I had the color palette. This is their blush version, I believe. Just neutral tones that you can pretty much use for the lips, the cheeks, or the eyes. I've played around with this enough to know how it finishes, how long it will or will not last, what needs to go over it, and things of that nature. These work really, really well as cream blushes, just kind of buffed on the skin. But this is a really great palette to have as well. And then what else do we have in here? Color correctors, the Makeup Forever Camouflage palette. I strayed away from this for a long time. Again, just being influenced and pulled in so many different directions because there's so much quote unquote education out there. I got away from color correcting, but got back into it once I started to kind of peep into the world of film and television, and just learning other ways to get polished makeup looks without extra product or killing the skin. So color correctors really work amazingly under foundation when you understand color theory, how to cancel out, how to neutralize, how to bring forward, how to hide per se. So I'll do a video on these as well. I just gotta find somebody that I can kind of correct per se, but this is a really good product to have, especially if you're doing beauty work. And this guy, which I did a video on, is the Ben Nye cream color. So I just started this palette. I'm trying to get my hands on the MAC Flash Color palette, only because I love the way those, wait, is it Flash Color? No, it's not Flash Color. The MAC Stick something, they have a palette, but I want those as well. I know the textures of those really well. I really like these. The color payoff on these is really good. They come off a bit oily, but the color payoff is amazing. So if you're gonna set this with something, or even just kind of like do a really quick editorial and you just want to pop a color, these are really good to have. I don't know what I'm gonna fill up the rest of the palette with. I'm still on the fence, so it'll just stay empty in the meantime. And spatula. Always good to have a spatula so you can mix and match foundations. I have a metal palette. I also travel with a white one because the metal ones, they tend to mess up colors for me in regards to me seeing the true color of it. So where if I put makeup on a white palette, I can see its undertone exactly. But these two go hand in hand, or this one with the white palette. Either or, I just like scraping and just working from this palette to save product, to also be sanitary, and just to really customize whatever I'm doing in regards to my colors. These brushes should not be in here, but this is my NARS. This is the Eda brush, I believe. Yes, the Eda brush. You probably can't really see it, but this is one of my favorite brushes to use. It has to be clean. I think that's why it was in there. Angle brush shouldn't be in there as well. This is my Inglot brow palette. So when I do brows on someone who, let's say, may have a lot of brows and I don't want to like overly draw brows in, let me move this bag over, there we go. This is really good because I can get filling without the brow looking heavy. So they're just hair-like colors. You can do this with eyeshadows. It doesn't have to be brow products. I use this probably more than I use pencils. I probably only go to the pencils when I'm wanting a specific shape. But if I'm just doing something to kind of fill in, these are really good to use. And more lips. So this is the MAC Plum palette, and then this is the red palette. Good for throwing in your set bag if you don't want to travel with the larger palettes. If you use this color originally on your model or your actress or whatever you're doing, easily you can throw these in the set bag and have smaller ways to do touch-ups, and really good for if you're doing brides and want to kind of give them a touch-up bag. I've never really done that with my brides. I do it to where I don't need to stay all day, or they don't really need touch-ups. That's a different video, but these are really good as well. And another lip palette. I love keeping nudes. I love having options. This is a palette from Inglot. I love that little freedom system, I think is what it's called. And the palette is super cute. I like the magnets. Very easy to travel with. And here we have the Narcissus eyeshadow palette. Just some nudes. Really great bronzy gold color. I don't think you can really see it, but this has like gold reflex in it, so it reflects light really, really well. Great for really quick smoky eyes over eyeliner. So really good probably just for like a do and go, 1 to 3. And this is probably, drumroll, Laguna. Yep, go-to bronzer. Love using this just to kind of warm up complexions and give that summer kiss to the skin. Really, really, really love this bronzer. And I got brow powder under my nail. I hate this. My nails aren't dirty, but this annoys me. And the MAC palette, this is a warm neutral palette. So again, when you're talking about color, when you're talking about versatility, how to pack a kit, just colors that are just go-to colors for any skin tone, any skin type, any kind of makeup look. I can get done with this palette for the most part. And last but not least, this is my larger Makeup Forever palette. I customized this myself. And this has some bronzers in it, some blushes. There is another palette around here somewhere, and I was not looking for this. But if I need some blush colors, just powders, this is kind of like my go-to. I think my last job, the woman didn't really want blush, but I just wanted to have just in case we changed our minds. There's another palette in here. No? Okay. It's not. Carolyn oil from MAC. I like using this. Any type of essential oil, I like using as a base with a moisturizer or without. And like I said, going into that color theory conversation, these are the Makeup Forever chromatic mixes. So I have the red, the blue, the white, the yellow, the black. This is how I can customize my foundation colors, even if I feel like, oh, this color might work, and then it doesn't. It's too light, or it's too olivey, or it's not dark enough. Just drop some of these in here, and I can customize the colors. Duo lash glue, must have when you're doing false lashes. That is the black version. The makeup, this is the other duo one. This one is really, really good. For whatever reason, I feel like this one is a little bit stronger than the regular one. I got this by accident, but this one I really, really like using a lot too. So I keep both of those in there. And then some liquid illuminators, something more champagne-y. This is Copacabana, and then something a little bit more yellowy. This is Hot Sand. I don't know if this is permanent now, but when I worked for NARS, this was a temporary color, but this is a really, really pretty color. I have Laguna in here somewhere. I don't know where, but Laguna is here as well. So that's like my 3 liquid ones. I do have other illuminators. I can go into that in another video, but that is pretty much my kit for my do and goes. All right, so I hope that you guys enjoyed that. That was just a really quick rundown of like how I have stuff, how I pack stuff. If you guys want to see a little bit more details about that, I could extend this and make this like a part two. I also want to do a video on brushes because I know you guys are going to have questions on, hey, well, where are your brushes like with all of this makeup? Yeah, I try my hardest to keep it simple because I never want to go to a job and lose something or get something taken from me. Because I spend a lot of money. Like that kit is a really big investment of mine. It is my baby. It is my heart. I cherish it. It's been influenced by so many different people, so many different genres, so many people that I look up to cause me to have a kit that looks like that. And again, like I said, it takes time. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video because it is for you. It is not for me. I know these things. So I just want to share my knowledge with you to make your life and your job, your careers, whatever you guys are trying to do with makeup, a lot easier, a lot better, and to learn from my mistakes. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have not done so, make sure to like, subscribe, and feel free to comment. I want to know what you guys are feeling about these videos now that we're getting them back up and running for 2020. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.